Okay, so for this client, we are going to do the Manicurist polish because she really liked the color, and I'm curious how this polish is going to last on nails that are quite flexible. So this is a good example of someone who would benefit from a hardener. So you can see that the nails are nice and healthy, but they're very shiny, which indicates, and they're quite flexible. And she's been using the hardener, but not for a very long time yet. So, and even the thumbs are quite flexible. So sometimes the thumbs are harder, but they're quite flexible. So in that case, it's good to use it on the thumbs as well. All right. So I'm also going to very quickly show you the colors that I have. So this is the dark dahlia. I also bought the dark pansy. And this is sheer hortensia. Dark anthracite or something, dark gray. And a couple nudes. A shell beige. So this is very neutral, and this is more pinky, old rose. So if you're interested, please let me know, and then I'm going to try it. ¿Te gusta? ¿Este? Sí, sí. ¿Con tu piel? Sí, yes, sí.
¿Es que sí?
¿Quieres este?
Sí.
Sí? Okay.
Voy a probar.
Change of plans. We're gonna do this one. So I'm also going to use this top coat and then the matte base coat. Usually I do the cream afterwards, but it's so dry in here. We've had a few very dry days. Like in my house, the humidity dropped to like 38%, which is shocking here because it's always like 60, 70. We have to use a dehumidifier in the winter, so I'm gonna use a little bit of cream because I always ask the clients to wash their hands before the manicure, and I wash my hands as well, so our hands are a little dry. So normally when there is cream on the skin, it is a little bit difficult to kind of operate. I'm going to spray a little bit of alcohol just on the fingers because the hands kind of slip sometimes when they're very oily. So this is the hardener that I recommended, and I'm going to apply it. This one dries quite fast, so we can do the manicure right after. I mean, it soaks in fast. I know that they say to put it here only, but you know what? If you're just starting, I don't think it's a bad idea to use it on a larger surface because this contains dimethylurea. That's the hardener. That's the ingredient that it cross-links the nail. And their other product had formalin. Formalin is a very fast-acting hardener. And with that one, you have to be more careful. You can overdo it very easily. But with dimethylurea, I really don't think there is a risk of over-hardening the nails. So I'm going to follow the shape of the nail bed, as you can see. That is always the strongest shape. when I do this step, I try to not put a lot of pressure on the nail. So this, and the reason why is because I actually don't want to catch the cuticle. I just want to nudge the skin around the nail, so the skin fold, and I want to leave the cuticle behind. So this is a very, I'm not pressing down, trying to scrape it. Just very gently. And I don't like doing that, even if I use for myself a cuticle softener, for example. For clients, I like doing dry manicures because right after we're putting polish. So I don't want to be soaking the nails. But even for myself, when I do that, I nudge the skin first when it's still dry, and then I remove then I put the cuticle softener, and then I remove the cuticle. Because once you put the cuticle softener, you don't know what's what. It's very difficult to feel where the skin is and where the cuticle is. So we're gonna do a dry manicure very gently, and just smooth a little bit the skin around the nails, so these little catches. So now the purpose, and I know I repeat myself, but this is so important for people to remember, or maybe you're a new person watching this channel, is that we're not trying to remove dry skin. That's not how this works. Dry skin is usually a skin that has impaired skin barrier, so we don't want to add to the trauma of the skin. So I mean, light exfoliation is okay, smoothing is okay, but no, I'm not going to try to file until I don't see any dry skin. It's like an instant gratification, I guess, but over time this can really hurt the skin and cause a lot of callus, actually, because the skin is going to try to protect itself, and it's going to get thicker, and it's not a good idea. And actually, as you can see, when this is done properly, very lightly, very gently, there is no harm to the nail. I mean, if you're learning, then definitely you're going to cause some harm, but to the nail. But when you're good with this machine, you really don't. As you can see, the nail plate is perfectly fine. There is no damage to it. And we did a manicure, I think it was 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago or something like that. I think 3. And you don't see any marks. So what I'm doing now is I'm just removing the cuticle, and I'm just smoothing the rough skin around the nail. But as you can see, this is a good example of someone who doesn't have a lot of cuticles. Some people have more, some people have less. It's absolutely normal. So you have to kind of adjust, obviously, your pressure and your technique. And I had a very interesting question in our comment section. So someone was asking, is it really necessary to remove cuticle, because she does not have any issues with applying polish without removing cuticle? And in some cases, yeah, I guess. So for this client, probably if I didn't remove the cuticle, it would have been fine. But it's easier to polish very nice and precisely when the cuticle is removed, because then the nail plate is really clean, and you will create a very good seal of the product to the nail. But I mean, everybody is different, and for some people it might not be necessary, and for some people it's impossible to do a good polish application without removing cuticle, because they just have more cuticle. And again, I'm not talking about the skin around the nails here, I'm talking about the cuticle on the nail plate. You see that there's a little crack here. So when that happens, there are two usually reasons why this happens. It's usually from the pressure, and we use our thumbs more. And sometimes the nails are too flexible, and sometimes they are not flexible at all. So they're brittle, and this would happen. So it's difficult sometimes to, it's important to figure out basically why this is happening. In this case, I think it would be just a little bit too much trauma and nails that are a little too flexible. So in the case of using the hardener, it is still a good idea to do the warm oil soaks and use jojoba, because that's not going to cause excessive flexibility. It's just going to keep the nails at a good flexibility level. There's a couple little pieces. know what, I see a lot that in this case, when the skin is this dry, there's no callus here, the skin is just dry. It's a tiny bit thicker, but it's not calloused. So in this case, I see people, and I mean, everyone has their own technique, but this is just my opinion. They take the round bit and they take oil and they buff this skin a lot. And right after, yeah, it's going to look better. But did you actually do anything positive for the skin other than just looking good temporarily? No. And we're just kind of teaching the clients that the buffing is a solution to their dryness, and it's not. It's very temporary and it's not beneficial whatsoever. You're just irritating the skin. So although I do a little bit of the I go over the skin with the e-file a little bit, or you can even do it like this. This is not, again, to fix dry skin. It's just to make it feel a little bit better, and then the skin just needs to be moisturized and protected. So, and that has to be done by the client. So 80% of how the nails look it depends on the client. So it depends how the client takes care of their nails at home. And then the 20% is the manicure. Because very often people think that they have dry skin and somehow I can fix it. And I really can't. The skin has to heal. So I'm just going to wipe it with alcohol. So sometimes you see me do a little buff around where the cuticle was, but in case of this client, I just don't want to, because I don't want to add I don't want to remove too many layers, because this client's nails are quite thin to begin with, and buffing a nail like that is going to make the polish last longer for sure, but it's going to damage the nail at the same time. So it's a really tough choice, but I would rather not buff a nail like that. Let's polish. So shell beige. I think Orly has the rubber caps. It's a very good idea. I think RPI is the worst, I hate to say it. The RPI Infinite Shine, they are like shiny silver. Okay, so I touched the skin a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is clean it off with a dry stick. Okay, so this one is drying. I'm gonna give it another minute for this to dry, and normally it's always best to let the coats dry in between. The second coat is going to go on better when this one is a little bit drier as well. It's not gonna mix with this one, it's not going to streak as much, and at the end is going to dry faster. So just okay, 2 coats gives it a really nice soft kind of coverage. It's not too chalky, because I know some of these polishes can be very chalky and kind of difficult to work with. I have to say this one is very good. It's a beautiful color. So it looks like it dries a little bit darker, which is normal. Sometimes polishes change a little bit as they dry. I have to say, I like it. Oh my god, this reminds me of one of the Dior polishes that I really loved in the past. Can't remember the name now. But it has a similar kind of formula. Honestly, when it comes to dry skin, the most important thing is to, right after hand washing, just putting 1 drop of oil. And I usually show the clients how to do it, because sometimes when people watch YouTube videos or Instagram, whatever, they see so much oil applied and they will never do it. So here's what I do. Just 1 drop. Okay, like this, like this. After each hand wash, because the detergents in the soaps really strip our skin. So just like this, and then you can even grab a towel and wipe your hands a little bit. Honestly, it makes a huge difference over time. It really, really does. You can do that, or you can use the Solve. Call me crazy, but this is how you do it as well. Small amount, just like this. Okay, let's do the top coat. Yeah, it's drying already. I can see that the surface is not as plump. There is just some texture now. In my opinion, I mean, we're in the salon here, so, you know, always time is important. You know, it's not a good idea to put oil on and then try to open the polish bottle. Anyway, so what I would recommend is to letting the nails dry maybe another 5 minutes or something. If you want to, then top coat. Sometimes then it does not pick up the polish. It's usually a problem with like red polishes or polishes that are very pigmented. I try to be very gentle with how I apply the top coat, because I don't want to ruin the polish underneath. So you see, I'm kind of more parallel to the nail with this brush. I'm not going like this, I'm going more like this. Also working quite slow with this top coat, because I can feel that it's very easy to get little bubbles with it. So you want to work very gently and kind of slowly, because you don't want to introduce the little bubbles. Also, when you pick it up from the bottle, you want to pick it up gently. You don't want to slam the brush into the bottle. Just going to clean up this little edge. And we're going to let them dry for a couple minutes. And then I'm going to apply the drops. Quick dry drops. Okay, so I'm going to use the drops. And you know what? I was kind of thinking about it last night. This is what I think about before I go to sleep. This is kind of cute with the dropper, but I find it's not that comfortable. I don't know. It doesn't pick up. I don't know. It was not very easy for me to use it. Let's just put it this way. I would rather see like a dropper. Okay. This makes the skin look so much better as well. Okay, so what I was going to just show you, a dropper like this. This kind of dropper would be better. Maybe I'm just not used to it, I don't know. So you're supposed to kind of like drop it in this area, I guess to cover the nail as well, obviously, because these drops are designed to dry the polish quicker. Sometimes even 2 maybe. I know they say 1 drop, but I don't think 2 is going to hurt. This one went all over. Looks really good. Okay, so I'm going to take some photos now, and if you guys are interested, I'm going to ask this client to let me know how this polish lasted. So I'm going to update the information in the description box. So if you're watching this video like days after it's been launched, then I might have that information, because I'm actually curious on a client with very hard, very strong nails. This lasted amazing, like 2 weeks. She's coming today and her nails are very good looking, but it all depends on the foundation. So if someone has very flexible nails, this might not last as long. So I will let you know in the description box. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye.